That was so quiet. I don't even know what to do. You're so quiet. I'm like, who's here for comedy? And you're like, well, be more quiet than he can somehow be. And I say all that to say, who's ready for comedy, guys? I'm the worst host in the world. I just want to be perfectly clear. All I did was read this one book that's like, get the crowd involved. Get them to say whoop and holler, and I think I've found gold. That's what you say to the crowd. Guys, thank you so much for being here. I am crushing thus far, and I thank you. No, it was the lights. Everyone's like, I guess he's supposed to be funny. He's hosting the show. I don't understand why he's not funny. Lights. Oh, this guy. He's the one I told you about. I'm having a good time. Thank you for being here tonight, guys. It's Friday. You could be anywhere on Friday, right? Where else could you be? Hey, guys, local references. Where else could you be? I heard a strip club. Strip club, where there is a touching rule. Oh my God, I actually have a local joke. You guys ready for this one? It's a doozy. Okay, here we go. Do you guys know how Reno got its name? Does anyone really here know? No, yeah, nobody knows. Absolutely nobody knows. That's the weirdest thing. It's like, how did Reno get its name? I don't know. Yeah, but here's the story. So there was this guy. His name was Johnny Reno. And he ran the greatest whorehouse gambling debt factory in all of the Nevadas. There were 2 back then. And then one day, Johnny Reno bet Kevin, Austin, Texas. I know, weird name. That this town will be named Reno and not Austin, Texas. Kevin, Austin, Texas. And he says, oh yeah, how much you want to bet? He said, $1 million in the names of the city. Okay, well, how are we going to decide who wins? Look, I can't explain why they thought this. Ether frolic. It's the only thing I can imagine they thought was, we're in the midst of an Easter frolic. Easter. They did it on Easter. We're in the midst of an ether frolic. Let's go ahead and name a city, Reno. But remember when we set that prostitute on fire and threw in the tub of alcohol? Not our drinking alcohol, our car running alcohol. And she blew up and she created that great space. And then in 1972, some feminazis, you guys know who I'm talking about right now. These ladies who come in like, this unknown burned-to-death prostitute that exploded in the Nevada desert has the right to have her legend preserved too. And then the mayor of Reno said, all right, guys, East Reno is now called Sparks. I will literally be setting myself on fire backstage in a minute. Who's ready to have a good time? Okay. Who wants to hear me talk about cops? You know what? I don't like cops. And I'm going to be honest about why. Because they murder unarmed citizens. That's ultimately what it comes down to. I mean, I haven't checked the news since I've been here, which has been about an hour and a half. Has a cop murdered an unarmed citizen in that last hour and a half? Because if not, woo, we got 1 day under our belt. Kaboom. Oh, that's in poor taste. But I want to be clear about something. I can't hate cops more than Jim Fleming hates cops. Jim Fleming is a very good friend of mine, and I have permission to tell this story, and I can't be more clear about that. So on Wednesday, there's a bar here we do open mic at, and there's police officers arresting somebody next door, and Jim, me not realizing he's completely blackout drunk, I hate cops. I'm like, yeah, we all hate cops. He's like, no, I really hate cops. I'm gonna fight them. And then I realized, I don't hate cops as much as this dude. You guys remember the word poser? I felt like a poser. It's like, this guy hates cops. So we go into the bar, and he's just like mad dogging out the window with these cops. And then we're like, hey, man, come on, have a drink. That was a bad idea. He was already pretty drunk. And it was just us trying to maintain him. And then at some point, he bursts past all of us and yells at the cops, you think you're a fucking hero? Huh? You think you're a fucking hero? And this is why I will never forgive Jim Fleming. As much as I hate cops, I love my friend more. And as he's trying to fight cops, I do this. Hey, come on, man. You know what? He's drunk. I'll take care of him. I'm sorry. He made me apologize to a fucking cop. That is the worst. All right. Woo! Firecracker, firecracker, shiskumba! You guys having a good time? Who's been here before? By round of applause. All right, the bartender and two of you. Excellent. So they do a lot of different shows here, and tonight we're doing a comedy show. And you know who's on the bill. Who is it? Say it. Johnny Taylor. But first, do you know who we have? No. Oh, wait. Yes! Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for your friend and mine, Mr. Bryant Tarpley. Cue the music!
So my full name is actually Bryant James Tarpley, which means that my initials are BJT, which means that in high school my nickname was Blowjob Tarpley, you guys. And I actually got called that so often that my dad started calling me Blowjob Tarpley, which is even like cool. Like that's not even a creative nickname. Like that was already my cousin Stephanie's nickname. I can't have the same one. Oh. So I started I started and then failed a new diet. I'm drinking beer again. But what happened was I was walking past a restaurant, and when you're on a diet and you can't eat delicious food, and you see delicious food, you become what I call a food pervert. Like, I walked past the restaurant, and I was like, oh, that looks so good. Oh my God, that looks delicious. I want some. Oh, you dropped some french fries on the floor? Oh, you're dirty. You're going to pick it up and eat it, ain't you? Why am I rubbing by my knee? That's a lie, you guys. That's a lie. No. I'm not allowed back at McDonald's because of that. So, when I was a kid, my mom was missing for a little while, and so I went up and I put some missing posters up around the town, and on it I put "Mother I'd like to find." And you guys, she was a MILF. I really did want to find her. A lot of people called up agreeing that she was a MILF. All my friends thought she was a MILF. So I read a statistic recently that said that 70% of men have cheated at least once, and 30% of women have also cheated. You guys, 70 plus 30 is like 100%. Do you guys understand that? Everybody's cheated. That's 100%. That's not true. I've never actually cheated. Well, all right, technically I kind of did once. I was playing Monopoly with my then girlfriend, and she was beating me really badly, so to get back at her, I had to fuck her best friend, you know? I had to, you guys. I had to. I love going to weddings. Because every time you go to a wedding, there's always some drunken idiot who makes a complete ass of myself. I was thinking about applying to work at the unemployment office. Because think about how like convenient it is to work at the unemployment office. Like if you screw up and you get fired at the unemployment office, you just walk around to the next cubicle and start filling out the paperwork. Like that's awesome. You don't have to drive there or anything. You already know the girl's name, so it'll get done quicker. I'm telling you guys, it's a good job to have. I used to have a dream catcher when I was a kid. And let me tell you guys, dream catchers, they work. They really do work. The only problem is that all of my dreams were nightmares about being a minimum wage worker doing stand-up comedy. So if you get a dream catcher, just dream big, all right? You guys don't dream for like here. I grew up in a really bad neighborhood, and in that neighborhood they had this thing called a clapping circle. I don't know if you guys know what that is. Basically, a bunch of people stand around in a circle, and every time they clap, every time they say something, they clap. So it kind of sounds like this. Oh, hell no. That bitch not do that shit. Nah. That's my baby daddy. Which is really annoying because all the lights in my house are on a clap-on, clap-off system. And I suffer from epilepsy, so it's not good, you guys. It's not good. I recently got kicked out of a massage parlor for trying to give a happy ending. Apparently, it's a one-way street there. They don't like that. They don't like it when you do they don't like it when you do their job. Ladies, I want to apologize real quick because I'm going to call all of you out for being liars. Basically. So I'm sorry for that. Basically, guys, they've been lying to us for years. Yeah, one guy. So basically, women have been lying to us for years. They've been telling us that the clitoris or the G-spot is in this general area. I know they're two different things. Is in this general area. Go find it. And I recently found out that's a total lie. It's actually on their back. Yeah, it's on the back. And I know this because I was giving a girl a back massage, and all of a sudden, like she kind of like froze up, started shaking, made that orgasm face, her foot started twitching. And I mean, the doctor said it broke her spine, but I know what I did, you guys. I know what I did. So, ladies, if you wanted a 6-month-long orgasm, right here, I can help you out with that. You might die afterwards. Just, you might not live past it. So, woo, yeah. I love drinking. It's part of the reason why I moved out here to Reno, because the bars never close. Well, some do, but there's always one open. I love getting blackout drunk. It's so much fun. Because, like, I actually don't know how much fun I have, but I'm pretty sure it's a lot. Pretty sure I have a lot of fun. I don't remember it. But I always get these awesome phone calls. Like, one of my favorite phone calls is, dude, you punched like 3 guys in the face last night. It was insane. Wait, really? I beat up 3 guys? No, they threw you through the window at Studio on 4th. You're not allowed back there anymore. Oh, okay. Well, at least I had fun. Or my favorite phone call is this one. Dude, you made out with a chick at the bar last night. You were so drunk. I was like, really? Did I like go home with her? No, she pepper sprayed you in the face. So I'm saying it's better to forget how much fun you had, but still have the fun. I like to poop, you guys. Yeah, very weird segue, but I do. It feels awesome. You know, like when it's coming out, it just feels so good. I think pooping is like 1/5 of an orgasm, right? I don't know, maybe it's sneezing. I get those two mixed up. I don't know, they're both fun. But I keep wondering, like, what does gay sex feel like? If pooping feels so good, what about it going in? You know, I'm afraid to try it, so I want to find maybe like Nightcrawler's son, Fudge Crawler. You guys haven't read that comic book yet? No? Hasn't gotten to you guys? I know I'm up here wearing like a pink tie. I'm talking about getting anal. But I'm not gay. I like women. You don't believe me, do you? No, I do. They're great. I love boobs way too much to be gay. And you have no idea, ladies, how much guys love boobs. Like imagine if every guy walked around with a plate full of chocolate, diamonds, and commitment, but wouldn't give you any. I like that. Aww, that's sad. Yeah, ladies, that's how it feels like. If you walk up to a guy like, hey, can I have some? Like, no! They could take me out to dinner first, meet my parents. I think that's how it happens. I don't know. And if you really, really wanted the chocolate, diamonds, and commitment, you'd have to go out to the bunny ranch, and a guy would give it to you for $300, you guys. For $300. Oh, I should probably cut that joke. That's not. That usually does pretty good. Usually does pretty well. All right, I'm going to do one more, then get out of here. I've been trying to figure out what I want to do with the rest of my life in case the stand-up comedy thing doesn't work out. And I was thinking maybe like a racer, you know, but not like a NASCAR race car driver, because all they do is make left turns and sell beer and tampons. I want to be like a drag racer, you know, with the dress and the high heels and everything. Oh, that'd be so much fun. All right, thank you guys for staring at me. My name is Brian Tarpley. It's been a lot of fun.
Let's keep it going for Brian Tarpley. Love that dude. Oh, you guys know what's great about this location is, like, literally I stepped outside just for a breath of fresh air, and I'm not making this up one iota. A guy walks past me and goes, "What's the news, man?" I'm like, I don't know about that REM album. Is that a good one? Yeah, I'm great at this. You guys like hosting? I'm going to go into the crowd. Let's see. Where? Oh, I know most people. Okay. You, guy with the beard. Where are you from? Yeah. Here. And you're going to be glad this next guy is here. I like segues. Oh, not just those super awesome pussy fetching scooters. I mean, you know. Guys, this next guy, this is going to be great. Guys, they haven't been in Reno for a long time. I'm going to be very honest. Which we're still kind of mad about. Anywho, they haven't been in Reno for a long time, so let's remind them what a Reno welcome sounds like. Let's get it going right now. Let's get it going. Let's get it going. I said, let's get it going, get it going, get it going, get it going for Keith Jensen!
Oh, hello, Reno. That was a Reno welcome, huh? Cool, like you guys clapped almost all the way until I reached the microphone. Wow. The way to make me feel like I'm not famous. It's cool, I know, I'm already playing on 4th Street. Fucking 4th Street. Yeah. This is an awesome place. I used to watch a lot of punk rock documentaries, and the Sex Pistols were booked in like places where they were intentionally booked so they'd be beaten up because it would make the news. As a kid, I kind of wished for that, and then we got here, and I was like, no, not now. Like, I'm fucking too old. That dream is over. The ship has sailed. What are you doing, Destiny? You put that dream in your pocket and kept it for too long. It's over. I don't want cowboys waiting for me outside the bar when I'm done because I said I like gay people, okay. But then there's this Burning Man bar down the street. You're okay, Reno. I like you.
That's not my name.
I didn't even hear you. That's the way I'm dealing with hecklers tonight. I'll fucking turn around if I have to. Let you guys check out this sweet dad bod. I get mad because other comedians get hit on when we're performing, and I don't get hit on. And I asked Johnny Taylor, who you're gonna, what the fuck was that? The fucking Reno Angel just get its wings? I think in Reno, angels get their 30-day chip. It's different. I was complaining to Johnny. I was like, man, girls never fucking throw their numbers at me or anything after shows. And he said, that's like, you talk about your wife and your kid on stage. They could tell you're a sweet guy, you know? And so then this girl on Twitter was all, fucking KLJ Jensen's hot. And I was like, yeah, check that shit out. Eat that up, other comics. And then the next tweet from her said, I love his glasses and his dad bod. The fuck's a dad bod? This is not what I'm just skinny. That's not. Right? I mean, I was. I haven't been on a scale in a while. The sweater's a little baggy. I'm telling you guys, I'm pretty lanky. All right, we can move on. One thing I thought was funny was it was just weird, like a little culture shock, because we've been touring, but we've been up and down the Pacific coast, so Washington, Oregon, California. It was weird to come into Nevada, and the host wanted to smoke pot with Johnny, and they had to go around the corner to do it, like find a little hidey hole, like all sneaky. It's not like that at home. You just you're lucky if they step outside to do it, to smoke their marijuana. We can smoke the marijuana in California, is what I'm saying. Like, you guys can have prostitutes and smoke cigarettes in bars. We have weed and we can marry our boyfriends. And it's weird because weed's not all the way legal. We drive up to Oregon, it's all the way legal. We just got back actually from Colorado, it's all the way legal. People think it is in California and it's not. You actually have to go get a prescription. It's actually called a recommendation because real doctors don't write them. They're written by these doctors that sit in strip malls. And that's the only medical service they provide. But they have gone to medical school. My friend Dan went to medical school. Medical school's fucking hard. How do you get all the way through medical school to sit in a strip mall and go, yeah, you can have weed? You know, that's like something went really awry at some point in this guy's life. He wanted to be a surgeon. He had shaky hands. I don't know. Like something happened. But you have to have a legitimate medical problem in order to get the weed, like glaucoma or psoriasis or freckles. They're not just handing that shit out like candy. How about for prostitutes? Do you have to have a prescription or you just go fuck them?
Penicillin.
Yes, you get the prescription afterwards. All right. Prostitution laws are weird. They're weird because, I mean, obviously prostitution exists on so many different levels. You can have sex with a rich person who buys you presents, and that's totally allowed. You can even advertise in the back pages of a newspaper that you're looking for a generous boyfriend, you know? That's a weird thing. It's really just a poverty thing. If you do it the way poor people do it, that's illegal. No, it's like that with most laws. If you go get a massage, they can massage all of you except the part where massage feels best. Which is another weird thing. Like, I love a good massage, and they break down where I carry tension, except where I really carry tension. You know? It's like, look, you can feel how tense it is, and afterwards you'll feel it just totally relaxes. I mean, that's the one place where massage is most effective, and they're not allowed to do it, which is weird too, because like I don't have a jealous wife. Like, I don't think she would care if that came up, if like dirty massage parlors were legal. She cares, I've asked, she cares because it supports sex slavery and horrible stuff because it's illegal. But otherwise, she'd be like, someone else is gonna go take care of you and you'll fucking leave me alone. And I'm not playing into the stereotype that women hate sex. I have a little bit higher of a libido than her. Most couples are mismatched in different ways. And if she could just be like, fuck yes, go, she would send me, you know? It was so funny when my friend Brett got divorced. I was like, oh, I better take him out to coffee. And my wife's like, did you really just say coffee? And I was like, yeah. And she reached into where we keep the singles. She handed me a bunch of ones and like, take him to a fucking strip club, loser. I'm like, oh, thank you, honey. I'm gonna be the best friend ever. But yeah, there'd be nothing wrong with it to just go get your tension really relieved. And I was thinking about it, what if you're paralyzed? Like a paralyzed guy, like they really have to take care of their muscles and their skin. They're prone to bed sores, things like that. They do go get massaged, they get rubbed. I'm sure they get their dicks rubbed. It's part of them, it needs the lotion and they can't do it. Right? And that's fair. You're a paralyzed guy, you can go get your dick lotioned up at a massage parlor. I mean, I hope so, you should be able to. But I took a human sexuality class in junior college after dropping out of continuation school. Real quick, I know there's not supposed to be kids here, but if there are listening, one, fucking good on you for getting the fake ID. I think it's a bold move. No, really, the kids that got fake IDs are the kids that are now, as adults, leading the best lives. You know, my friends that had that ambition and drive, like, fuck the kid that did well in school. He's working some shit job right now. He's fucking miserable. He's on his, second divorce. But the kid that fucking got the fake ID, he's living it up. He's in Mali fucking surfing, you know? Like, that kid's having a time. But advice for kids, don't finish high school unless it's to a bigger end. If you're gonna go to college, actually even then don't finish high school. Just test out and go to college. Just get on with it. Don't waste your time. The last couple of years of high school, you don't learn shit. If you're not gonna go get a degree, get the fuck out of school now. These are the best years of your life. Don't fucking waste it there. Because here's the thing, if you're not gonna get a degree anyway, you go take one class in junior college. You take film appreciation, you get to watch fucking movies all day, and then you can check some college on the resume and you're set. They don't check beyond that. Some college, all right, you're fucking hired. The other thing is you can lie. You guys know that, right, to lie on resumes? Oh, you must. You absolutely must lie on resumes. That's a given. Like, one, don't be stuck working the career that they think you deserve. Fuck that. You have the career and the life that your imagination proves you are worthy of by making shit up. Like, just fake names, phone numbers. Grab a number off the bathroom wall. Do you see the bathroom here has 2 toilets? That's weird. Just grab a number off the bathroom wall, put it down, you know? Fucking go crazy. Because think of it this way. If this asshole's hiring, and he or she has this huge pile of resumes, and they're going through and they're calling every reference on every one of them, you don't want to work for an uptight prick like that anyway, do you? You're correct. This is very funny. We just dodged a bullet. But on the flip side, if your phone rings and it's a wrong number, and they're asking for a reference on someone you've never heard of, give them a good fucking reference, people. We're in this shit together, all right? Keith? Oh, Keith's fucking great. No, you don't hire Keith. Send him back to me. I want him back. What did he do? Oh, all the stuff. Fucking, he did everything, did whatever we needed him to. Okay, so I was in junior college, human sexuality. We worked our way back. There was a guy, and he was paralyzed. He was a quadriplegic, which means no arms, no legs, no use at all. Above the neck was fine. He had a girlfriend, and they interviewed him about his sex life and his sexuality. And he very generously agreed to, I guess, shoot a porn, his equivalent thereof, but for science, to show how him and his girlfriend have a sex life. And she just straddles his leg and fucking rides that shit to town. And we all know from heavy petting sessions that works. But here's the interesting part. To get him off, she had some real skills with his ears. You know, and getting your ear nibbled on is pretty fucking hot. Getting a little tongue dipped in there is pretty fucking hot too, as long as you're sure you've taken care of the hair in there recently. Otherwise, it's distracting. You're like, is that clean? She may be regretting her choices right now. But she's licking his ear, she's nibbling his ear, and he comes. Here's my question. Can that dude go to the massage parlor and get his fucking ears rubbed? See, the law doesn't make any sense. It's a silly law. I can't read my own writing. I wrote some stuff down. Oh well. I have a kid, and I'll talk about my kid because I have to, because she's gotten more famous than me on accident. And now if I don't talk about her at shows, people get mad. They feel ripped off. I made my daughter a little bit famous on accident. I started a Twitter account for her, and I know you're thinking, well, that doesn't sound like an accident, but I didn't think it would become so popular. It was just a place to record all the great shit that she was saying, and I'll tell you the things that came out of her mouth, and you'll agree that she needed her own Twitter. She started talking early. She started talking at 1 year old. 1-year-olds say weird fucking shit. They don't normally talk much, so you don't get to hear how weird their brains are. She was 1, going on 2, when I walked out to have my breakfast, and she was sitting at the table, and she looked at me and said, "Daddy, I wish that I had tongues on the bottom of my feet so I could kick things and taste them." And I went, "Oh, fuck, you need a Twitter." Max the Tiger. That's her Twitter handle. She got very popular. She was 4. She was lying in bed. I was reading her stories. She says to me, "Daddy, you know that Dizzy Gillespie is my hero of playing the trumpet?" I said, "I know he is, sweetie." She said, "And Rosa Parks is my hero of fighting white people." "Oh, I'll be right back, baby." Roseanne Barr liked that one, retweeted it to her fans. Next thing I know, my daughter's starting to have more Twitter followers than me. And I'm at a show in San Francisco, and I say, "I have a kid." And this Frank the Tank looking motherfucker, like way too old to be living the frat boy lifestyle he had going on, jumps up drunk and goes, "Max the Tiger, fuck yeah!" And I went, "Oh, I've done a bad thing." Not a good parenting move. No, not at all. So I have the stories for you. She doesn't know she's white, apparently. Well, I didn't want to tell her. I mean, racial strife's a heavy topic, and I think when they're this age, just living in a diverse place and letting them play with all their little friends of every fucking color of the rainbow on equal terms is awesome. And they can find out later that there's a history and that they should be conscious of it and aware of it. And, I wasn't going to tell her about it so young, but a daycare teacher who I hated, because this woman walks up to me one day and she says, "Keith, I need to speak to you." And I said, "Oh, what's Max done now?" And I go back, she says, "You know, Max, she's a very old soul." I'm like, "Oh, fuck, she just talks a lot, lady. She's got a big vocabulary." "No, she's had past lives." I was like, "All right, fuck off." So I was getting ready to pull her out of there. I'm like, "She's here to learn colors, okay? And to give mom a break. That's it. That's your job. If I can give mom a break and teach her red." Like, fuck off with your past lives bullshit, you weirdo. And then I pick up Max one day, and she tells me, "Daddy, did you know a very bad man killed Martin Luther King Jr.?" And I went, "Ah, shit, yeah, honey, I know that." And she starts telling me all this stuff, and I'm like, "All right, I guess we have to have that talk early, damn it." So we get a kid's book on Martin Luther King Jr. She learns all about him, and we realize at the end of the book, she thinks she's black. She tells us, "Mommy, Daddy, I know that if you had a park, you would let me play in it." Which is interesting, because she thinks she's black, but she knows that her parents are white. And I have to break it to her. Like, I have to tell her at some point, but she's finding out that white people have a nasty history of being horrible people. I mean, we're doing better now than we've ever done, but we've still got a ways to go. What a heavy trip to all of a sudden find out you're the other side. like white guilt's fucking heavy, and I own it. I think white guilt's a valid emotion, but it's pretty fucking rough to have it all dumped on you at once when you're 7 or whatever. You know, like, I don't know how to break that to her slowly. Like, maybe first I'll be like, "Honey, you're actually Mexican," or maybe I'll just slowly move her towards white. "You're Asian, honey." I mean, because she's fucking Danish and Norwegian and Scottish. She couldn't be any fucking whiter, little blonde-haired, blue-eyed fucking oppressor. she has tadpoles, and a friend brought us too many of them. Just a big fucking bucket of tadpoles. And they're not pets. They don't get names because they die. Like, that's what frogs make a lot of babies because most of them die. And you just scoop out the dead ones every morning and fling them into a houseplant because it's supposed to be good for them. You don't name them. You know, they're not going to come when you call them. Then one of the frogs is an early bloomer. Anybody in the room an early bloomer? Like I was so not an early bloomer. And the one early bloomer I knew in school only bloomed early physically, and we made her life fucking hell. And torpedo tits, Teresa, if you ever hear this message, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm so sincerely sorry. We were dumb fucking baboons and we didn't know what we were doing. I was not an early bloomer. If an aunt or an uncle buys you the book, Leo the Late Bloomer, fuck that aunt or uncle. Like, what a dick book. No kid is so dumb that you put that book in front of them and they go, oh, you bought me that because I'm fucking smart. You know? Like, I get it. I'm Leo. You suck. No, that's too personal, I guess. That's just me. It's my hurt. It's my pain. Leo's this little lion, and he's behind the other lions, like I was. I couldn't roar when they could roar. All right, we'll move on. We'll get back to the frogs. You're an nice audience, and I like you, but you're not big enough to be an A-list audience. We're testing new shit. I mean, just to be clear on that. But the early blooming tadpole climbs up on a rock, front legs and back legs, like way ahead of the other frogs. My daughter's so excited. She's like, Dad, we have a froglet. We have a froglet. It was a tadpole, and then it was a swimmer, because that's what she calls them when they have back legs. And now it's a froglet, and soon it's going to be a frog. And I was like, all right, honey, we got a frog. And she says, his name is Hippity Hoppity. And I was like, cool, hello, Hippity Hoppity. And then Hippity Hoppity died. Yeah, just right there on the rock. It's like, well, that's what you get for rushing it, you little fucker. You got to take your time. Look at this book, Leo the Late Bloomer. He got there eventually. Why you got to push yourself so hard, little frog? Picture this frog was on growth hormone or something. Just like, yeah, 2 more reps. The frog climbs up on the rock. He dies. My daughter is distraught. We had to talk about it, you know? I had to tell her about Hippity Hoppity. The death is final. The other frogs would probably live. You gotta wait and see. And she took Hippity Hoppity and we put him in the backyard underneath a nice plant. She put a rock next to him. She'd drawn a picture of him on. She said some very kind words. I've never heard anybody so beautifully eulogize a frog that they'd known for a minute and a half. You know, like, he was a good frog. All the other tadpoles admired him. Always generous with the boiled lettuce that we feed them. And overall, I thought it was a good experience. It was a nice first experience with death, you know, as nice as you can have. You gotta get used to this shit in life. We go in and we lay down, we read stories. At the end of the stories, she says to me, hey, Daddy, you know that guy that said Lazarus come forth? I was like, that guy? You mean Jesus? That's how parenting win. My daughter calls Jesus that guy. She knows the story of Lazarus because I had a salamander named Lazarus because it was almost dead when I got it. I bought some fungicides and nursed it back to health. I named it Lazarus because I brought it back from the dead. Very amphibian heavy, her education. She said, how'd that work, Daddy? How did he say Lazarus come? By the way, Johnny, if you can hear me, I have no idea if anyone's fucking lighting me. I might just stay up here all night and you don't get a set. How'd that work, Daddy? He said Lazarus come forth, and Lazarus came back to life. I said, well, he's magic, honey. And she said, well, why didn't we try it? And I said, well, because we're not Jesus. And she said, well, I want to try it. And I go, well, honey, that's just a story. Like, it's not real. It didn't really happen. She says, well, I want to try it anyway. And I said, no, sweetie, we've accepted it. We've moved on. She says, okay, Daddy. Yeah, and I think it's dawning on you what dawned on me. Like, fuck me, right? Like, that's Seriously, that's a dick thing to do, and it's a thing that I would have hated my parents for. And I realized that. And I said, you know what, sweetie, you got a right to try. You want to try? Get up. We're going to try. I don't want you carrying that regret with you. Let's go. She hops out of bed in her pajamas. She puts on her slippers. She goes out in the backyard, and the parenting books I read didn't prepare me for such a moment, such a poetic. I mean, it's a moonlit night, and my little baby girl is standing in her pajamas over a tiny little dead frog, going, "Hippity hoppity, come forth! Hippity hoppity, come forth!" And I'm thinking, I don't know how many times to let her try. And so I go over to comfort her, and I put my arms around her. I said, "Sweetie, death is final, honey." And just then the fucking frog kicks its back legs a couple times. Starts struggling like it wants to turn over. So I just fucking ran over and just fucking squashed it. Because we're an atheist family, god damn it. All right. I'll tell you one more thing and I'll get out of here. There's this tattoo that I've been obsessed with for the last couple of years. This guy put this tattoo out on the internet. You guys might have seen it because it went pretty viral. Dude got a tattoo on his bicep. He had a big old bicep so he could fit lots of shit on it. Yeah, he like worked out because he had a message. And the message was, "Thou shalt not lie with a man as one lie with a woman. It is an abomination." Which I think means snowmen really dig it. Is that correct? I don't know. I went to continuation school. I don't know words. But he still had room left on his big old bicep to put the attribution. Underneath that, it said Leviticus, because that's where he took the quote from, the book of Leviticus in the Bible, and that's why people passed it around, because that's hilarious. That dude quoted the very book of the Bible that says, "Don't get a tattoo, you douchebag." And I'm paraphrasing, but that shit's in there. You can look it up when you get home. Just Google tattoos Bible. It'll come right up. It's like dude was reading the Bible and found that passage and went, "That's it, that's my shit, that's what we've been waiting for." Like ran out to the tattoo parlor. "This is it, do it, old English letters, fucking go." Didn't even finish the book of Leviticus. Got home and it was like, "All right, what else they got?" "No tattoos, god damn it." Motherfucker. It's like if I was reading Lord of the Rings, right? And I was all, "Gandalf the Grey, shit, he's a badass. I love me some Gandalf the Grey." Nerds. You're fucking nerds. You know right where this is going. Run out, get Gandalf the Grey put on your arm, you come back and finish the book. "Gandalf the White, more powerful." What the fuck? Can you bleach it? What can we do? I fucked up. I've had audiences nerdy enough to get it, but I've never had an audience geeky enough to be ahead of me on it. You're like, "I see where he's going." Gandalf the Grey is only in the beginning of the book, and then he fights the Balrog, and when we see him again, he's Gandalf the White. It's not a race thing, it's just his cloak, and he emits white light, and he's a lot more, powerful. I had to translate that into geek. The reason I think it's funny is different, though. I like the wording. I've always loved that passage in the Bible. "Thou shalt not lie with a man as one lie with a woman." That doesn't mean don't be gay, right? I mean, that's just advice on positions, isn't it? Like good advice, too. Bible's helping you out. Bible's like, "Hey, you've had sex with lady, and that's awesome. You're welcome. Thou probably wanteth to fuck a dude." I mean, why wouldn't you? Which is a fair question. Why wouldn't you? I mean, you like fucking a lady. Find out what fucking a dude's like. I bet it's great. Why wouldn't you? Go find out, Brian. Give it a go. No. There's no shame in that. There's no shame in trying it. And the thing is, straight guys love to say to gay guys, "Well, have you ever tried having sex with a woman? You ever tried it? How do you know you wouldn't like it?" Right? I mean, straight dudes in this room right now, you've said that to your buddies. "You ever tried it? You might like it. How do you know you wouldn't like it? How do you know you're not straight?" And I think turnabout's fair play. So turnabout. You ever try an e-cock? How do you know you wouldn't like it? I have this rule. You should not actually be allowed to say that you're a straight dude unless you've tried some dick and made sure. I think that's fair. Like, I live by that. If people ask me if I'm straight, and you know they do, I say, fuck, I don't know. I think so. But I used to think that I didn't like broccoli, and then I tried it with garlic salt, and that shit's delicious. Plus, I got a boner watching a Rod Stewart video once, so fuck, I don't know. I might try some dick. I think I'm gonna try it when I'm 60. Like, I've put a lot of things off until I'm 60 because I'm busy right now, rocking fucking Reno. But when I'm 60, I want to have a model train set. That's something I've always wanted to set up, a model railroad. I just don't have the time or space right now. Once my kid's out, her room, model railroad room. And I've always wanted to do bonsai trees, little Japanese trees. I think I'll do that when I'm 62. And also, I'm going to suck some dick, just to see. And these may seem like three very disparate hobbies, but they actually go together really well. Because you set up the model railroad, and then you can use the little bonsai trees to decorate it, to set up the landscaping, right? And then you call your friends to come over and see it, and they're like, dude, we don't want to see your fucking railroad. And then you're like, but I'm going to suck your dick. And then they're like, be right over. And then, so it all. So, you know, the Bible's just helping you out. The Bible's like, look, you know, if you have sex with a lady, you want to try having sex with a dude, like the anatomy's different, adjust, right? So you can't just jump into missionary position. You may end up frustrated, possibly even injured. You got to get the legs up a little higher for that to work. And sorry if the bit about the legs up higher is too graphic. It's just, I do have gay fans, and then they'll confront me after the show and say, Keith, we actually can do missionary position. And then me being who I am, I always say, prove it. And then my night gets weird. And I got to sleep sometime. But here's the thing. I wish that bro with that tattoo meant it for the reason I just said. I wish that dude got that tattoo to tell people, hey, if you want to fuck a dude, just adjust. Remember, like the Bible says. Like, that'd be a good guy. Just information, just spreading information, you know? I'd love that dude. Like, that'd be the first guy I ever thought was justified in tearing the sleeves off of his flannel, you know? Like, good for you, buddy. Do it. Do it to it. But we know that that's not what happened. We know that he went and spent money and had pain inflicted on his person because so badly did he need to put that message on his arm. And that sentiment that was in his heart that so badly needed to be expressed outwardly to all of us boils down to, don't fuck dudes. He's a fucking weird guy. I mean, how weird would it be if someone walked in the room right now and just needed to tell each of you, hey, don't fuck dudes, all right? You got it? You can, but you don't fuck them, all right? Don't be you're not fucking dudes, are you? Bible says don't fuck them. And I'm sorry, but if you need don't fuck dudes tattooed permanently on your person, to me that just begs the question, how shitty is your memory? Because mine's fucking terrible. And I tell you what, I almost never forget not to fuck dudes. Like, I do really good at it. I'm never at Safeway racking my brain like, shit, what was I supposed to remember? Like, I got bread and I got soy milk. Oh, don't fuck dudes. Oh my God, sir, I'm not even supposed to be in this bathroom. I'm so sorry. I gotta get out of here. We have t-shirts and all kinds of merch, and we would love to sell it to you. And if you're too cheap for that, watch my special Atheist Christmas on Hulu. I love you all very much. Thanks. Good night.
Going for Keith, guys. Come on. You're welcome, America, but more specifically, Reno. All right, guys. Well, the headliner is about to come up next, but first, an intermission. No, absolutely not. I want to bring up the headliner. He just had his album come out on Stand Up Records. Yeah, right? Nothing makes me more excited than that, than how beautiful the white race is. Oh, sorry. Forgot where I was. Dropped my note cards on the way in. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your friend and mine, Mr. Johnny Taylor.
Hey. Okay. All right. Okay. Hey, what's up? All right. Biggest little city. How we doing? This is like being in a very weird version of the end of jury selection. It's like, except the tables are round. I used to live here. I went to middle school here. Went to Pine Middle School. What a weird reaction. Oh, what the fuck are you wowing? The fact that I know what Pine Middle School is, or that I actually graduated middle school. 7th and 8th grade, I went to Pine Middle School. It's like a minimum security prison, that place. Why'd they build it like that? What a strange building that is. Anybody here go to Pine Middle School? Yeah. Well, okay. So, yeah, it's like fucking having a date. Just hear one person at a time. So, like, yeah, I did. I went here. Okay, cool. I wanted to go to Swope. Anybody go to Swope? This is like being in a TV from the other side. Everybody's just peacefully watching. You guys saw some comics tonight, and maybe you're watching it and you're thinking, oh, maybe I want to be a comic, you know? Maybe I want to do stand-up comedy. And you can. Anybody can do it. Just get 5 minutes together. Go to an open mic. Don't get discouraged if it goes poorly. Just keep going back. Keep writing. And really, you know, spend a lot of time and energy and chase your dreams with everything you got. And if you do that, she's going to leave you. She's going to bounce. For surezies. I like to get married a lot. I do, like a good party. They never work out. I don't even know how to appropriately break up with a girl anymore. We just somehow end up in her car. She's crying, and I'm giving her half of whatever's in my wallet. It's usually like half of a Subway punch card and like $6. She's like, where's the money? I'm like, hey, this isn't my first rodeo. Go ask them. Go ask them where the money's at. They know. I went on dates with girls for a minute. I like to go to coffee. Coffee's a good date, right? You know? Right, because you can talk to the person, you know? You don't have all these distractions. You don't have all this music in the background. You can actually talk to the person, get to know them. And so I go on this date to a coffee shop, and I'm excited to hear what she has to say. And I sit down, and the first thing she says to me blows my fucking mind. She sits down, and she says, it feels really good to be out. Yeah, I'm like, where the fuck were you just prior to this? And why didn't you mention that on Tinder? She's like, no, it feels good to be on a date, silly. And I was like, oh, yeah, it feels good for me, too. And then she says, well, I went through a rough stretch recently. And I was like, okay, well, explain. She says, well, I was drinking quite a bit, and one thing led to another, and I ended up doing crystal meth with my son. And I was like, oh, fuck, that is really gross. You have a kid? Disgusting. I didn't sign up for that. Should have swiped left. She's like, oh, you don't have a problem with me doing crystal meth? I was like, you know, YOLO. You know, I mean, do you, boo? She's like, well, I don't do it anymore. And I was like, you don't do it? She's like, well, I don't do much of it. And I was like, yeah, I know you do. You don't do much of it. And she says, well, how do you know? And I was like, well, you know, you're splitting half of it with your kid. It's hard to stretch your meth that way, I've heard. Yeah, don't have any experience with that. You guys taking pictures of your privates? Yeah? Okay, I know some of you guys are. One guy wooed. That's always the guy that sends the dick pic, like, maybe a little too early. That's a fucking panic-stricken experience. When you're like, yeah, she's ready. She's hella ready. And then you fucking press send on the dick pic, and then like there's no response for like 3 minutes. You're just like, what the fuck? Is she analyzing it? What's happening? I ask if you guys take pictures of your privates, and I know that most of you guys do because I see the fear in your eyes. And it's healthy. I know what the fear is. It's the fear that your friend's going to say, hey, can I see your phone for a second? And then you hand it to him without thinking, and your fucking heart starts pounding. You're like, dude, don't scroll. Please don't scroll. If you scroll, shit's going to change between us. I didn't sexting's a thing that happened when I was getting married and divorced all those times. So I didn't know how to fucking do it. There's no sext coach, you know. And so I didn't know what to do. So I'm texting with this girl, and I go with this approach. I say, hey, show me something naughty. And at the same moment that I press send on that text, the same exact moment, I got a picture of her in her underwear bag. But I think there's a miscommunication and a misunderstanding because when I press send and I get the picture of her in underwear back, I think she thinks that I saw that picture first, and then I said, show me something naughty. Yeah, because the next picture was just a close-up of her asshole. Oh, sorry, I'm just reporting the facts. What the fuck did you think I thought when I saw it? What am I supposed to say? Oh, it's beautiful. It's so symmetric. Yeah. Nice shitter, toots. I don't know. Yeah. Hey, girl, your balloon knot is on fleek. I don't know. What do you say? Keep it current, you know, and romantic also. I don't know. And then she says this. She says, I can't believe I just sent you a picture of my asshole. And I was like, yeah, neither can my friends. I thought that was pretty bold. I like it. Some people really like that joke. And then some people really don't like that joke at all. My niece's boyfriend liked it. I don't know what the fuck that says. Thinking weird things right now. Gotta be honest. We're gonna get through it together. You guys ever been little kids? Yeah. I have. When I was a little kid, you guys, I don't even, it's kind of, we got a weird, diverse crowd in here, but I don't know, some of you guys probably heard of Tupperware parties. Okay, cool, okay. Back in the 80s, Tupperware parties were a thing that a lady in the neighborhood did when she wanted to make a little extra scratch, you know. They became the Tupperware lady, you know, the Tupperware peddler. And so when you're the Tupperware lady, it sounds so fucking nefarious when I say it like that. Tupperware peddler, you know, up on 4th Street. 4th Street, I was like, are you sure this place is called 4th Street? And Keith's like, yeah. And I was like, it looks like Raper Avenue. Is that too real? Like back here, happened. I don't know, Knife Boulevard. There's so many things I could go with. Is this a good part of town?
Yeah. You want a prostitute?
God bless you. He just said, yeah. And that was all. If you want a prostitute. Great, good timing. I'd say I was like, let it stew for a second. Well, cool, man. I'm looking for a prostitute, so guess I'm in the right place. What was I talking about? What was I talking about?
Prostitutes.
This motherfucker said prostitutes. That's funny. Tupperware. So anyways, my mom was the Tupperware lady. She, in our neighborhood, she was the Tupperware lady. And so what they would do, they'd get like 40 women from the neighborhood, and they'd all come in, and my mom would try to sell them Tupperware. And so I was a little kid. Even as a little kid, I wanted to perform, you know, for people. So I looked down. I got excited. I was like, oh, man, look. I'm going to go perform for the Tupperware party. You know, I'm fucking getting set. And I'm like, oh, maybe I'll sing, you know. Maybe I'll sing a song for the Tupperware party. And then I was like, no, I don't know. Maybe I'll do stand-up comedy, you know. Maybe I'll do like a little comedy routine. And then I was like, oh, no, maybe I'm not that funny, you know. I don't know. And then I was like, oh, I know what I'll do. And what I decided to do as a 6-year-old, I decided to strip. Yeah, for realsies. And I was like, oh, I don't have any stripper gear. I'm like looking around my room. Oh, doesn't seem I don't really have any stripper gear, so I'm going to put underoos on. I'm going to put my Spider-Man underoos on, and then I'm going to put one of my dad's work shirts on. I look like a sexy girlfriend, you know. It was, and so I put that on, and I'm like, oh, this is okay, but I don't know, it's not very sexy. So I'm 6 years old, keep in mind, and I think I'm going to pull my underwear up my ass and create a weird 6-year-old thong. Yeah, because I like to keep it spicy. And so I'm getting ready, and they're downstairs, and I'm upstairs, so it's like creates this natural catwalk for me, you know? And I'm like strutting my stuff, you know, getting ready. And I got to tell you guys, there's nothing creepier than a 6-year-old stripping at a Tupperware party when there's no music. It's like American fucking Horror Story. They're like, what's he doing? One girl she looks up and she looks at my mom. She's like, oh, he's so cute. He's so adorable. And like I got down and like I got offended by that. I was like, no, I'm not adorable. I'm sexy. And I like open up my shirt and I see the look on her face start to change to be like, this is so cute. And then she's like, oh, what? And she looks at my mom. She's like, Linda, what is he doing? And my mom was just like, I don't know. And it was the most sincere, frightened, I don't know. And I get to the second lady, and I had to unbutton my shirt a couple buttons for the first lady, and then I just reveal myself to the second lady. I open up my shirt, have this weird 6-year-old body, clearly delicious. And so then I start doing one of these to the second lady. And then, do you guys, Billy Crystal in the 80s used to do this thing where he'd go, you look marvelous. And so it'd be cute if I said that to the lady, right? Like, I'd be like, you look marvelous, but I didn't. What I did is I opened up my pants, and I looked at my own dick, and I said, you look marvelous. At this point, people are getting up and leaving. They're like, I don't know if this is legal. We got to go. I don't know. This is against the law. I'm certain of it. I get to the third lady, and I just kind of bend over in front of her. And I do this, which is weird. I don't know. I'm like being a stripper must be in my heart somewhere. I look behind her and like give her a sly grin. And then I look over, and as I look back, I get hit in the head with a Hot Wheel track by my dad. And the name of that joke is, that's the last year I asked for Hot Wheel tracks for Christmas. Because I got beat the fuck out with them. People falling. This isn't a joke, just an observation. But I remember one time my dad, he was walking. We're walking through a parking lot of like a grocery store. And we're walking, and I see an oil patch up ahead, and I think, oh, I wonder if my dad's going to step in that oil patch. I don't say anything. And he's walking. He hits the oil patch, and he just slips immediately to both knees. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. I start laughing uncontrollably. And he stands up, and he's got this grin on his face, and then he just punched me in the face. Don't laugh at your dad when he falls. That's the moral of the story. Let myself get fat. That's the thing I did. Yeah, it's weird. I didn't know. You have no idea when you're in the middle of getting fat that you're really getting fat until you see a friend that you haven't seen in a while. I saw a friend I hadn't seen in almost a year, and the first thing he says, oh, dude, you look fatter. You know what's mean about that? It insinuates you were already fat to begin with, and now you look hella fat. So I'm like, fuck, I got to do something about my problem with food, man. I eat too much. So I go to a nutritionist, right? And the nutritionist says, well, you know, do you eat at home? You know, do you cook for yourself? And I'm like, no, I like to go out to eat. And he says, well, you know, you should go to Subway. And I was like, okay, well, I've been to Subway, you know, but not as a lifestyle. And he's like, well, you should eat there more often. You can have, lower calorie options there. And what the nutritionist didn't mention is that Subway is the most unintentionally depressing place on the planet to eat. It's because I got the sandwich I picked it up, got it to my table, and I took a good look at it, and I realized that that's what 6 inches actually looks like. I didn't know it was that long. I was like, whoa, that's not what mine looks like. Been lying to some chicks. I was like, that looks more like my dad's. You guys are acting like you haven't seen my dad's dick. One time a girl, she comes up to me, she's like, I work at Subway. And I was like, oh, okay. And then she says, those sandwiches, they're only actually 5 inches. I was like, that ain't really helping, ho. Walking around with a micro dick this whole time. Didn't even know. No clue. You guys have Safeway stores up here in Reno? Yeah? Okay. So you guys know your assholes, if you shop at Safeway? Right, You're an asshole if you shop at Safeway. I learned the hard way. I didn't know. And but as far as I know, that's the only place on the planet that requires you at checkout to say, no, I don't want to help kids with muscular dystrophy. They make you say it, too. Okay. They do. They make you say it. You think you can just slyly hit no on the ATM, Then the clerk will look you right in the eyes and they'll go like, well, don't you want to help the kids? And then you have to be like, fuck, I guess I don't. That's weird. I don't even know myself anymore. Like, really, it's only $1, and, you bought 30 pieces of string cheese. Try to save it at the end, You're like, well, do they like string cheese? Give them a couple. I don't know how it works. Okay. Muscular dystrophy, a big phenomenon here? Yeah. I don't know. I'm just figuring out what's going on. I should have went with hungry kids. I don't know. They ask for everything. Like cystic fibrosis. I'll offend everybody in here at some point. We'll keep it going. It's weird. I feel antagonistic. So I'm going to go. Dark stuff you guys don't like. Is that real? Okay. Can I do some dark material? Okay. I mean, I kind of already just did, but tip of the iceberg. I'm gonna talk about hecklers. First of all, I want to say that thank you for not heckling. Heckling is something that people do. I get why people do it. They think they're helping the show out, so they yell something out at a time that they think is appropriate. It's almost never appropriate. Almost never helps the show. But the thing I hate the most about hecklers is how I react when I am heckled, because I go to a dark place that I don't want people to see, And so oftentimes I'll make the show weird. And so I'm going to give you guys an example. I usually do 3. I'm just going to do 1 example of things that have been yelled out at me and how I've reacted to them. You guys ready? Okay. I'm doing a stand-up comedy contest. And I get there, and I see that the first person's on stage. They just happen to be in a wheelchair. The crowd's going crazy for this person, and the person, it's their first time on stage. They've never done stand-up comedy ever. And so I ask a friend that's there, and I'm like, how's this guy killing? And he says, oh, man, there's probably about 60 people in there. And I was like, he brought 50 of the people. And I'm like, oh, shit. So he's killing in front of his friends and shit. And so I say, well, how are they judging it? Is there judges? And he says, no, there's no judges. It's based on crowd response. And I'm like, I'm fucked. So I'm like, whatever. I'm just going to do my set, let the chips fall where they may. If he wins, that's fine. And so I go up much later, and I do my first bit, and it goes over very well. And so I think to myself, hey, maybe I got a chance. Maybe I can turn it around. And I do my second bit, doesn't go as well. And I get heckled, and I'm like, who the fuck has just heckled me? And I look out, and it's the comedian in a wheelchair that was killing. He heckled me. I got heckled, by a comedian. I got heckled, and he says this, I do my joke, and he says, That shit's just not that funny, bro. And I'm like, oh, hey, everybody. Apparently the big winner is checking in here. The big winner chiming in. Give it up for the big winner. And the crowd really starts going crazy. And then I say something I regret to this very day. I say, well, I mean, at the end of the night, I get to walk to my car. So I guess I'm the big winner. Don't clap for that. I'm not proud of that. I will say this, if you could win a comedy contest on the sound of a gasp, I would have been right in the mix that night. I was scared, though. I was scared. Because, he brought 50 of the people. And I was like, how am I going to get to my car? I might not be able to walk to my car. I'm going to leave, and my fucking legs are going to get broken. Anybody in here have anxiety? Holy shit. You got it bad, Playboy. Okay. Thank you for being very ambitious to say that you have anxiety. Sometimes people go, woo, and I'm like, what the fuck? What a weird way to say of anxiety. You're like, I barely get out of the house. What's up? Cool. I'm glad that you have anxiety. It makes me feel relatable. I have anxiety. I've had anxiety most of my life since I was 5 or 6 years old. And so here's the deal. I have anxiety. Here's how I realized it. It'd be bedtime. I'd go into the darkness of my room. I would stare up at my ceiling. My heart would start pounding. I would start sweating buckets. And I would have the same thought over and over again. And it would be, what am I going to do when my parents die? How am I going to handle my parents dying? What am I going to do? They're the only thing I know. They're everything to me. What am I going to do when my parents die? And this would happen night after night after night. And now my parents are both dead. So needless to say, that's a huge weight that's been lifted off my shoulders. I finally catch some fucking Z's. It's weird. Nobody ever assumes your parents are dead. I work at this job, and sometimes I go in, and they're like, "Oh, the holidays are coming up. You going to go see your parents?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not going to go see them." They're like, "Well, you're at least going to talk to them, right?" And then I have to be like, "Well, I don't know. Do you have a Ouija board?" Maybe we can contact them together. I don't know. I had a weird childhood. My mom, she had problems, and so she would have these episodes, these hyper-manic episodes, and they would always be hyper-religious. My mom would say that she was the lamb, things of that nature, and when I was a little kid, she made me think that I was John the Baptist. Do you know how fucking awesome that is? To think you're John the Baptist. She wanted me to baptize my siblings in the bathtub. And so I go in there and I'm like, well, she's like, well, you got to, admonish them for their sins. You got to redeem them. And I was like, well, what did they do? And she's like, you know what they did. And so I'm in there just redeeming them for eating all the cereal. Or changing the channel when I want to watch Saturday morning cartoons. It's not heavy shit. But I will tell you guys this. If I could redeem them now, boy, do I have some dirt. Whoa, what was that? What is with this Burning Man place next door? What's going on there? What? What the fuck is going on in this room? I don't even know what the fuck you guys are laughing at this point when you laugh. Are you guys like, somebody's got a tablet in the back and you guys are watching episodes of Full House? What? Oh, there's a guy on stage? I didn't even know. Had no idea. I worked with a squeaky clean, I'm going to keep being dark. I worked with a squeaky clean headliner recently, you guys. Do you guys know what that is, a squeaky clean headliner? This is a guy that he doesn't cuss at all. He doesn't do any sexual innuendos, no taboo subjects. Kind of guy that, I don't know, might slip something in your drink. Fuck you while you're asleep. I don't know. But I won't say shit on stage. So keep that in mind. And so I'm working with this squeaky clean headliner, and he comes up and he's like, we had an 8 o'clock show and a 10 o'clock show, and between the shows he comes up and he says, hey, Johnny, I really like your act. And I'm like, oh, thanks, man. And he says, but I got to tell you, man, I think you might be a little dark for my crowd. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, I got a lot of material. I'll do some lighter-hearted stuff. And he says, I'm going to teach you a lesson right now. I was like, okay, man, I'm all ears. And he says, if you're a gay guy, you could do jokes about being gay. If you're a black guy, you could do jokes about being black. It's like, and if you're going to do a joke about AIDS, you should have AIDS. Yeah, and I was like, wow, that would have to be a fucking amazing joke for me to go catch AIDS. Not that committed to stand-up comedy is what I'm trying to say. You're a real lifer. That joke used to kill. Now you just live with it. It's like a really long time. Told that joke to Magic Johnson 25 years ago, and he still doesn't get it. So it's like, what is that joke about? I don't know. Magic's the only guy that got AIDS and got fat. It's like, whoa, okay. That was back in the 90s, too. It's like a fucking 8-foot-tall Highlander. He's immortal. I have a lazy eye. Thank you for that response. Appreciate that. Take me back to my high school days. Just 30 people staring at me awkwardly. One asshole just kind of giggling about it. I do have a lazy eye. Do you guys know what the symptoms of a lazy eye are? There's only two. The first one is you look kind of ugly. And then the second one is you look slightly distracted 100% of the time. I've lost girls over the lazy eye. I have, because they want to look romantically into my eyes, and then I'm just staring at their shoulder the whole time, Gets awkward. I've had friends 20-plus years never mention that I have a lazy eye. And I think that they're either being nice or they think something just adjacent to them is really fucking interesting. So what's this dude looking at? Or if a guy's walking down the street, and I'm having to pass him, and then he's like, dude, what the fuck are you looking at? Are you looking at me? I have to be like, well, I don't know. I might have been. I don't know what this thing's doing. It's on its own sketch. It's funny they call it lazy eye like it's just at home smoking pot, looking at Craigslist. It's not lazy. It just doesn't do what I fucking want it to do. We should call it defiant eye. Willful eye. I don't know. I don't know what they should call it. I was in a record store one time, and a guy comes in, goes to his friend behind the counter. He's like, dude, did you hear about Christy? And he's like, no, what happened? Well, Christy got LASIK eye surgery, and something went wrong, and they left her with this wonky, lazy eye. And then he says back, oh, she was so pretty, too. And then he says, yeah, I know, man. It's really tragic. And the only thing I could think of when he said it was tragic was the Space Shuttle Challenger exploding. Bodies flying to the ground with her family watched in horror. And how that's nothing like having a lazy eye. It's a bummer. It's just not that bad. Most of you guys remember what the Challenger is, right? Otherwise known as the day all your schoolmates decided to scratch out what they wanted to be when they grow up. It's like, can I be a chef now? Please. They don't explode, right? I'm a thanker. I like to thank people. So I want to thank you guys for coming out. Also, I want to thank, before I go on with the rest of my set, I want to thank Affliction Clothing. I do. I want to thank Affliction Clothing for making people I never want to hang out with way easier to spot in a crowd. You used to have to guess who you want to hang out with, and they see one of those shirts, I'm like, well, it's not that fucking guy. I know that for sure Z's. I did that joke one time. I was just kind of hanging out in front of the venue, and this guy comes very quickly, starts approaching me, and I see he has an Affliction t-shirt on, has a big sequins cross on it, and I think to myself, I don't think this guy's going to compliment me on my set. And he doesn't, but what he does do is he gets this close to my face, and he says, that t-shirt joke, I fucking hated it, bro. And what I said to him was totally different than what I said to myself. What I said to him was, well, I'm sorry, man. It's just a joke. I didn't mean to be hurtful. Thanks for coming out to the show. But what I said to myself was, I'm about to get my ass kicked by a guy in a sequin man blouse. Pretty humbling Facebook update. Oh, hey, everybody, I did my set, and then I got the shit kicked out of me by a guy in a bedazzled baby tee. Please don't like this post. He spins around, starts walking the other direction, and I notice he has a yarmulke on his head, which I thought was the weirdest fashion choice. He had a yarmulke and a sequins cross. It was like he was wardrobe by Coexist. Starts walking the other direction, and my friend sees it. I'm scared-ish at this point because I almost got my ass kicked by this guy. And then my friend's like, dude, what the fuck was that? And I was like, dude, I don't know, man. Like a Hebrew? Or a juice bag? I don't know what they're calling them, you guys. I don't know. Yeah. Before I get out of here, I have one more question for Reno, Nevada. I want to ask you guys, do you have an arch enemy? Okay. Did somebody just say the Joker? I mean in real life, bro. So the Joker. My arch enemy's the Joker. That'd be weird if you were actually Batman. Like, this is where you were. Like, oh man, there's crime going out in the streets. It's like, I'm trying to watch a comedy show on Raper Avenue. Get it together. Well, that's cool, man. Now Batman's come to the show, so that's cool. Guess nobody will be asking me for my autograph. Thanks for upstaging me. If you don't have an arch enemy, you're probably it to somebody else. I will say that. So either you hate somebody or somebody hates you for probably no good reason. There's probably somebody right now that hates you for no good reason. And I'm going to tell you guys about a person that I hated for no good reason. My arch enemy is a guy named Rich. I met Rich through a mutual friend named Paul at the Target store. I see Paul, and I'm in Target, and I'm social, so I'm like, hey, I'm going to go say hi to Paul, you know. So I started approaching Paul, and I noticed Paul's with some guy I don't know. And I say, hey, Paul, what's up? Johnny, how's it going? Do you know my friend Rich? I'm like, no, never met Rich. First thing I notice about Rich as I go in to shake his hand is that Rich is wearing a Metallica Saint Anger t-shirt. Thank you. For those of you that don't know what Saint Anger is, it's a fucking steaming pile of shit that Metallica put out in 2005 to stay relevant to a changing musical fucking culture. And so this guy's wearing the Saint Anger shirt, and I'm trying not to judge too harshly, but I will say this. The first thing I think in my head is, wow, fuck this guy. But I try to give him a chance because I'm a Metallica fan. So I say this. I say, hey, man, you like Metallica? And then he says this to me. He says, I only really like this album. I'm like, this is going to be tough to get past. But I'm going to try. I'm going to give him one more chance. And I say, hey, dude, you don't even like any earlier Metallica? You don't even like Master of Puppets? And then he says this. He says, oh, that one? That's my least favorite one. And at that point, I hated him with every fiber of my fucking being. I envisioned him being on fire. And everything about that, after he said that, I hated about him. I didn't like his face. I didn't like how he walked. He was wearing Crocs. That bothered me. I was like, fuck this guy and everything he represents, and I hope I never see him again. I hope I never run into Rich again. Rich is my arch enemy. 2 weeks later, I'm at a barbecue. Not unlike the barbecue we're at tonight. And I see Rich walk in, and he's still wearing that Saint Anger t-shirt, you know? And I'm like, fucking do some laundry, bro. I react irrationally to Rich being at this barbecue. I'm like, who the fuck invited Rich to this barbecue? Why is Rich here? Who the fuck invited him? My friends are like, dude, calm down. He's our friend. And I was like, no, he's not. He's a foe. In fact, he's my arch enemy. And they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I'm like, he's my arch enemy, and I'm going to confront him. And they're like, what the fuck are you going to confront him about? And I'm like, about his shirt and his face and the way he walks and the Crocs, everything. The whole kit and caboodle. And they're like, that's going to make everything so weird. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm ruining this barbecue. I'm committed. It's going to happen. I have to confront Rich. And so I wait for Rich to become alone. And he walks into the kitchen area, and I follow him in there, and I've got a lot of swag on my step. And I'm like, hey, Rich, I got some shit I need to say to you. And I look down, and I notice there's some tri-tip on a plate. And I think to myself, I'm going to create a dramatic pause in the conversation, eat this tri-tip, and tell Rich what the fuck is up. But here's what happens. I follow him in there, and I'm like, hey, Rich, I got some shit I need to say to you. And I put the tri-tip in my mouth, and it's overcooked. So I'm just chewing and chewing and chewing and chewing and chewing, and the dramatic pause is gone, and now it's just this asshole in a Saint Anger t-shirt watching me eat. So I'm like, I gotta make a choice, man. I gotta swallow this shit down, tell Rich what the fuck is up, and move on with my life. But I do that, and it's a mistake. Because I swallow and it gets caught up in my throat. And I panic a little bit, but I don't want to show any weakness to my arch enemy. So I just kind of step away. And I'm like, dude, you got this. Just fucking swallow, man. You got this. You're not going to die today. Definitely not going to die today. You have some shit to say, dude. Nobody dies at a barbecue. Just fucking swallow, man. You got this. And the more I try to swallow, the bigger the piece of meat gets in my mouth, in my throat, until I can't breathe at all. And if I run this way, there's nobody that can help me. So I have to go back into where my arch enemy is in the hopes that he can save me. And so I go in there and I just start banging on the kitchen table. And he's like, are you okay? And I'm banging on the table. And he's like, dude, are you choking? And I couldn't tell him I'm choking because I'm fucking choking, you know? So I'm just pointing at my throat, you know? I'm losing all the color in my face. I'm pointing at my throat. I make eye contact with him, and he's finally like, oh, shit, I'm going to save you. And he jumps over the kitchen table like he's a fucking extra in Knight Rider. Or like he's doing American Ninja Warrior or some fucking parkour shit. So he jumps over, incredible athlete, jumps over the table. He starts aggressively giving me the Heimlich maneuver, and there's nothing coming out. And he's squeezing and he's wrenching, nothing's coming out. And he's squeezing, and I'm just farting on his dick. Nothing coming out this way, a full release on the back door. So I'm just dying and farting, and he's squeezing, and I'm farting and dying at the same time. I didn't even know you could. And so it's just this fucking whirlpool of shame and fucking helplessness, but also like a small victory that I'm like, hey, dude, if I'm taking my last breath, dude, I'm farting on your junk, playboy. Saint Anger that, bitch. And so he's squeezing, and finally it dislodges from my throat, and it fucking flies out of my mouth. It's as big as a porterhouse steak. I'm like, why? Why would I put that big a piece of meat in my mouth if I had some shit to say to somebody? And so I'm getting like my breath back. I'm getting my color back. I'm having crazy post-traumatic thoughts. I'm like, oh, I'm going to have kids someday, you know? I'm like clearly fucking losing my shit. And so I'm coming back to life, and then Rich is like, you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I think I'm okay. And he's like, okay, dude. And then he says this. He says, so anyways, I got to know, man, what did you need to say to me? Yeah. And I was like, I like your shirt. Started walking the other way. Thanks so much. I'm Johnny Taylor. Have a good night. Thanks for coming out to the show. Appreciate it. Give it up for Keith Old Jensen, your host, Jim Betancourt, Brian Tarpley. Thanks so much. Have a good night. Come say hi.
Johnny Taylor, everybody. Come on, let's give it up. Hey, guys, thank you so much for coming out tonight and supporting live comedy. If you're like, hey, how can I continue to support live comedy? They're actually selling some merch back there, like some t-shirts and so many CDs. You think they're the fucking Rolling Stones. There's so many CDs back there. Go buy some stuff from the merch table. Thank you so much, Studio on 4th. Thank you, Anna. Be sure to tip your bartender on the way out. Thank you, Doug, for running the sound. Thank you, you. Thank you, you. Thank you. I know it's confusing, because I'm sure you want. DJ, spin that shit.